This episode of Small Town Western New York was made possible by the following supporters. Hi, on this episode of Small Town Western New York, I'm taking a day trip to a place to visit a few features that most towns can only dream about. Two are tucked right in the heart of its village, and one lies a few miles away. You know, the more time I spend in this place, the more I want to spend. And that's what this series is really all about. I'm headed to the village of Medina. I'm starting my day trip today here in Medina at the Canal Basin Marina. It's something that many out-of-towners haven't yet discovered. And yet, of course, the basin was originally a wide turning area built for the traffic traveling through town along the Erie Canal. But today, it features boat slips, bike and kayak rentals, electronic and water services, as well as other amenities that make for a great day trip, or even a base for exploring the region for a few days. In a couple minutes, I'm meeting up with Chris Bush, who's quite the authority on Medina, to talk about the basin's history. We're in the harbor.
Yep.
It is absolutely beautiful harbor that is quintessential to this town.
Mm-hmm.
How, why, what, where?
How did this happen?
Yeah.
Well, before this basin was built, before they widened the canal, 1914, 1915 in this section, this whole basin area was just a veritable rabbit's warren of different kinds of shops and factories. There was a gas works and mill races.
Because it had developed so fast.
It did.
There wasn't time to plan. There was just like, I've got a plot, and I'm just going to build this factory or this house or this apartment complex or tenantry building. Or...
Yeah, it was kind of like, the seedy waterfront sort of thing. Kind of
really?
It was like,
in a way, though, it must have been pretty cool.
That's what I always thought. I would love to go back and just kind of wander through it real quick and check it out, because it must have been very cool.
In my head, I'm picturing Oliver Twist.
Yeah,
like that
exactly.
London, that central, that London underground.
It's probably a place where proper people didn't go.
Yeah.
But that said, when they widened the canal, there was a very active group of businessmen, because there was an enormous amount of industry in Medina at the time. There were furniture factories and food processing plants, and it just, you name it, it was here. Foundries. They all kind of banded together and petitioned the state to put in a terminal and a harbor here, because they felt it would be beneficial. So this is kind of it's one of the widest spots in the Erie Canal. It's a place where barges can actually, kind of turn around and pass each other. In the area right behind you here is where the canal crosses the Oak Orchard River.
Right.
So there was an aqueduct built there. It was built out of sandstone prior to this. Mm. But when they widened the canal, because there's a falls there and the canal is substantially bigger than it was, they had to do a lot of engineering to figure out how they were going to do this. This is actually what you're looking at here. That retaining wall is longer than the Hoover Dam.
Get out of here.
No, it actually is, and that is what holds the canal back from the gorge where the Oak Orchard River is.
Well, and when you're on it, I think you get that sense, right?
You do.
But I mean, even looking at it now, it's got a breadth to it that you're like, oh, wait a second, this is substantial.
Yeah, this was the most studied engineering project on the canal.
My talk with Chris about the basin and the falls got me all pumped up to go check them out for myself. So after we wrapped up, I took a short walk over there to see them. And let me tell you, they really do not disappoint. And while you're in town, make sure you take a short walk across the canal and just down the Towpath trail a bit to check out the Medina Falls and Aqueduct, where the Oak Orchard River passes below the canal. It's a really unique spot. The falls are just beautiful. And if you're up for the adventure, you can even hop in a kayak and take a trip to the base of the falls for an even more spectacular view. The day was getting long and daylight was quickly burning. But before I left, there was one last thing I had to go check out that I had been hearing about for weeks that sits just outside of the village. And something that no one who visits Medina should miss is sitting just outside of the village at the Canal Culvert, which is a tunnel that allows motorists to drive under the Erie Canal 2 miles east of Medina. Now, that might not seem like much in an era of such technological marvels, but it's a really great feat of engineering, it's living history, plus it's just fun to drive through. This episode of Small Town Western New York was made possible by the following supporters.